Okay, ready? The flag is right here. Okay, take your right hand, put it on your heart. Are you ready? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're gonna say our I am a kid at Hope pledge. You know it, say it, okay? I am a kid at Hope. I am talented, smart, and capable of success. I have dreams for the future, and I will climb to reach those goals and dreams. Everybody turn around, smile. Good job. Good job.
Clay, that's going in your evaluation.
All right, thank you so much. That was enjoyable as always. So, before we move on to the approval of the agenda, I want to ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence as we honor the memory of Gabe Shimurtato, a member of the Kaiwi community who we lost recently. Thank you. Right, now on to the approval of the agenda. Any questions or changes?
I've got none.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll go make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, any delegations, Mr. Peterson?
Yes, Mr. Skipper, I do. I've got another fancy green border proclamation from the state of Washington, Governor Jay Inslee. Whereas the mission of Washington's public school system is to ensure that all students achieve at high levels and possess the knowledge and skills to be responsible members of a democratic society and enjoy productive and satisfying lives. And whereas Washington's 1,477 locally elected school boards of directors and 9 elected educational service district boards are the core of the public education governance system in our state, serving more than 1.1 million students, have a combined annual budget of over $15 billion, and employ approximately 120,000 people. And whereas school boards play a crucial role in promoting student learning and achievement by creating a vision, establishing policies and budgets, and setting clear standards of accountability for all involved. Whereas school board directors are directly accountable to residents in their districts and regions, serving as a vital link between members of the community and their schools. And whereas school boards and ESDs provide a passionate voice of advocacy for public schools and the welfare of school children. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize school board directors as outstanding public servants and champions for public education, now therefore I, Jay Inslee, Governor of the state of Washington, do hereby proclaim January 2024 as School Board Recognition Month in Washington, and I encourage all people in our state to join me in this special observance. Signed December 2023, Governor Jay Inslee.
We'll celebrate responsibly.
Yep. Yes.
So any others?
No, just as I have said many times, thank you for your service, and I echo Governor Inslee's words.
Thank you. And that goes to Mr. Thornton back there as well. Thanks for joining
And
us.
former members, yes.
All right, on to the proposed consent agenda. Any comments or questions there? Well, if not, I'm open for motions to approve that.
I will move to approve the proposed consent agenda.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 All right, now on to public comments. The board welcomes input from the community, from the public. Please follow the public comment procedure by stating your name at the podium when recognized by the chair. Each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the board is not allowed to discuss items not on the agenda. The board will direct the superintendent to follow up on any items that arise during public comment as appropriate. The board will not allow complaints against an individual staff member or student in open session unless that individual has requested an open public hearing. In other words, no student or employee names can be used, please. Any public comments? Any electronic today?
No, sir.
Guess I should ask that before I read that whole thing. All right, on to elementary reports. So I know Lisa is not
Correct.
joining us tonight. Did you have anything to add, Erin, or?
No, she gave me some information. You guys, we did this.
Great.
So how are you guys doing this evening?
Good, thank you.
It's good seeing you.
Good, thank
You got to visit us this other day. So it was nice to see you. So I don't know that I had the pleasure of meeting you all. My name is Erin Kerr. I'm the assistant principal over at the elementary school. Unfortunately, Lisa was feeling a little under the weather. She wishes she could be here, but I'm gonna do my best to fill in her shoes the best I can. Big shoes to fill. So December was, although we didn't have a full month of school, we did have a very busy holiday season, and we just kind of wanted to fill you in kind of some of the cool things that were happening at our elementary school. Santa Claus came to town. On December 14th, Santa came for a very special assembly with our students. He explored with magic. He had special bells that he shared the holiday spirit with the kids, and everybody left with a special magical bell that only Santa infused with his power, and a candy cane, and everybody really believed that he was the authentic real Santa that visited Kybe Elementary. Also something that we've done this year is really focusing on SEL lessons and focusing on creating a culture that has really good respect, character traits. We do something called Character Strong. It's an SEL curriculum. And so every second Wednesday of the month at 9 o'clock, we do a student of the month and celebrate them. Something that we've been able to put in place this year to make it extra special. Not only do we do certificates involved and invite parents to come celebrate those students and bring them up to the front of the school, we also are able to add Dairy Queen treat coupons as another incentive on top of that. They also get to have their picture on the bulletin board so that they're also recognized for those character traits. In this month coming up, the month of December was empathy. So students that are going to be recognized this Wednesday will be students that show the quality of empathy. Heather's Pantry, we are so blessed to have the donations from Northwest Harvest and Seroptimus this last month. We were able to provide 17 elementary students with food this last month, which is really, really cool. We thank you all for the donations that we got from the community. We were able to give Christmas dinners to multiple families this year, 8 families in total. And so that was really powerful. So not only on to our monthly or weekly, so we get monthly delivers of the food for Heather's Pantry that we do on every Friday that we send home with the families, but we were able to give an extra something for that Christmas dinner this year because of the donation and the generosity of the community here. So that was really special.
We also are able to offer, we get donations of clothes and things like that, hats, gloves, especially with this cold weather coming up. So that is something that we're, Bear Boutique is what that's called. And we're very stocked right now because of the generosity of the community. So something that happens last month is our ASB had a food drive between December 7th and 14th. And they were able to collect and stock up our other pantries. That was pretty special. MAP testing started today with 5th grade, and turnaround time for that math is 24 hours. So we should have those results back pretty quickly. DIBELS testing started today for kindergarten and 1st grade. That's the 1-minute time testing. That's just a quick dipstick of time that kind of gives us a good check-in and see how our kids are doing with reading. It was really cool in December, RTI data, we did from fall to winter. We had 142 students assessed and all 142 students need growth. So it's really showing how that tier 2 and tier 3 interventions that we put in place strategically based on our core standards, teaching to where they're at and filling in those gaps is really making a difference with our kids. And so we're really excited about that. And that's what I have to share with you today. Thank you guys. Do you have any questions?
That's great news on the RTI. Thanks for sharing that.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for the quick turnaround on filling in.
All right, Mr. Bell.
Good evening. And thank you for your service as we start out. As you know, pretty important that you're here and doing the things you do. At the middle school, we had a winter sports second session start today. We had a turnout of, I don't know, 30 plus girls and about half that in boys wrestling. So maybe 20 in boys wrestling, actually. I didn't take off my shoes to count, but we had a pretty good look, pretty good group out there. We are in preparation for our mid-year data assessment of our school improvement plan. We've got well into the MAP testing and talking about our writing goals and how we're working towards those. So we will be assembling that data for a February 2nd report to OSPI. As this quarter ends, which is very soon, a week from Friday, the reality of our accountability and with pushing it and communicating with parents and kids, very hard, but we'll have some real numbers to talk about as far as grades and success, and really hoping to work with students and families to get everybody passing where they need to be. But that will be a big push. We're also reevaluating our second chance breakfast that has been going on. We've looked at what it's done to our second hour classes, and the staff overwhelmingly is concerned about the fact that, I mean, we have great kids, but if you've got food in front of you and there's a good reason or half of a reason to be distracted, it's really affected those second periods. And we are looking at going to, and this is not finished yet, but breakfast after the bell. So we're going to build some time into the start of our school day and work on serving it that way. We've still got some negotiating between the high school and the food service and Mr. Peterson, but we're confident that we can make it work, and we're hopeful that it'll be just less disruptive. Last but not least, on my list is that we had over 60 kids in December. When we do a mid-quarter check and we do what's called an all-in party, have a little celebration for everybody that when we do that spot check has all their work turned in. And over 60 kids, even through the holidays and whatever preparation, had had all their work turned in when we did that. And so it's not something that we give them 2 weeks to say, hey, by the way, we're gonna check this day. We pick a date and check it, so either they make it or don't, but it's still 60 kids is about, 20% of the student body that everything in, absence or not, whatever, so pleased with that. Any questions?
When would you be looking to make that change to the morning?
Probably at the quarter.
Okay.
We got about 2 weeks to nail it down. We've got a new bell schedule figured and just some other details to work out, but the key will be to do that and not impact the elementary use of the NPR, which happens, but I think we're working it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Henry.
Hi there. So first, I want to thank you for the moment of silence. That was really great. I also want to thank and make sure it's public. We thank our AD, Mr. Hanson, Coach Sonderling, Coach Kinnison. Amazing work getting that all together last week before the game and the t-shirts and everything for a moment of silence for Gage Mercado. And so it turned out really well. I think better than anybody would have imagined. So I want to make sure we do thank those people for putting in that time and effort for the family.
Thank you.
In the semester's in 2 weeks. Teams are going well. Teams are playing well. They're working hard, all that kind of good stuff. Upcoming tomorrow, we have basketball at Wall-Luke. I don't know if you guys know about FAFSA, financial aid.
Yeah.
They really changed the system this year, it's a mess right now. I mean, they're getting overwhelmed and putting people in waiting rooms that are lasting for hours now. And so it's really kind of a mess. And so we're trying to slow that down. So we were going to have a big thing this Wednesday, but we're going to shorten that down because we don't want people going to waiting rooms to just sit if they don't automatically get in. So we'll be having a FAFSA, WASPA, and WASPA is not even out there yet. But we're going to be having a meeting with parents and kids who want to come in from 1:45 to 5. Then we have a senior parent meeting after that. And then we have boys wrestling at Toppenish. And then Friday, if you're interested, come on up. And we have our basketball teams playing 4:36 to 7:30 against College Place. And if you want to travel to College Place for wrestling on Saturday, go for it. Or you can go to Davis. That's right. And just so you know, the College Place is at 9 a.m. and Davis is at 8. And actually, the drive to Walla Walla is a lot better with that new highway. I don't know if you guys have driven that yet, but holy moly, I was shocked. So, and as soon as Mr. Beth finishes that schedule, then I'll approve it and we'll get that back to us after the bell, rocking and rolling.
I see how we play this game.
I know, yes, you do. Okay, so anybody have any questions? Perfect. And I have this pressing matter, national championship game. See you guys.
I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Clay.
Well, apparently y'all gotta go. Get it, all Huskies fans, I see.
I guess we have a TV here. We could throw it up.
Yeah.
We could have just turned it on for you.
Thank you. All right, on to unfinished business, the board workshop.
Yep, after a couple different months of talking about this, we are settled firmly, February 9th, 9 a.m. We will have our state facilitator come over and give us a good rundown of what's currently going on within dual language statewide, but also where we're at in the process of adopting dual language. During COVID, we quite frankly had to stop where we were and we didn't do a heck of a lot for a couple of years and then had to do a quick restart. So that's okay. There were a lot of districts that did. So it'll just be a good place for the board to see what our progress is and where we're going in the future.
How long are we anticipating that meeting to last?
I always schedule a board workshop from 9 to noon. I don't see any way it goes that long.
Anything else to discuss there? Any questions?
Say that again, Pete, dual language.
Dual language. Just update.
That's just dual language.
It's
all
just
the
dual
time.
language.
Okay. I
Yeah.
thought there was
Um,
another thing.
No, we've been talking about it for a bit and we had originally scheduled it in January, but then she wanted to piggyback it, so we didn't have to pay for 2 travels. So, no, that's it.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
just that we can move that one off of unfinished business now. It's been there for 3 months.
All right, so we can move on to policy 2415, elective credit for paid work experience, second reading.
Yeah, you've obviously, you remember 2415. This is the policy that really is all about simply the state, Superintendent Reichel, Governor Inslee, we're both big supporters of this. The idea being that this is a new law that allows us to award elective credit for students who have a job and are demonstrating their work-based skills in that job. And it used to be that we had a class called Career Choices. It was a CTE class. And so not all kids would necessarily qualify to get in there. This is just widening it. And to be honest, it's going to eliminate the need to have that Career Choices class. The one thing I should say about the policies, I reread it this morning. And Clay's not here. This was going to be for his effect, but it does say that they're supposed to get permission from the school prior to actually going out there and getting that job. And that is often very difficult at best. Usually what's going to happen is with the students, they're going to get a release from the school to work, then take that release, go out there, try and get a job. Then once they get a job, they'll come back to us. We'll work with the supervisor that they identify and take care of business. But it, quite frankly, is a good thing because so many of our kids do work and can't get into the one time we offer Career Choices. So it's going to be a positive for our kids.
All right. On to new business, Director District 1 application process. Any good news for us there?
So we, yeah, my update is short because we, as of 6:51 on January 8th, have no applicants who have contacted me nor interested parties who even want to talk about it yet. Now, that being said, like so many other small communities, a lot of people are out there thinking about it right now, and probably about a quarter until 4 on the 14th or the 17th, they'll decide to go ahead and do it, but at least right now, nothing. So it should be noted that if from the time, of course, we had a we had an initial due date. We wanted to try and get those around the 17th of January. Assuming we do not, we will leave that open until we do get somebody. But once we hit the 90-day mark, that has been open for 90 days, I will send a letter to the superintendent of the ESD asking them for assistance in locating someone. Talking to a few other superintendents, we won't expect much from that simply because we know our own people much better here than, the ESD doesn't pass, go trying to find someone for District 1. So
That's complying with state law.
it's complying with state law, correct? So we'll do that. But like I said, I just have a feeling at 3:45 on the 17th, we're going to have at least one. So that's what I have.
All right, well, spread the word, everyone.
Yes.
All right, next up, policy 3424, opioid related overdose reversal, first reading.
So policy 3424 is coming to us as a strong recommendation from our school nurses, as well as the regional nurse oversight people at the ESD. In fact, sitting in my truck right now are 2 vials of Narcan, which Narcan is a drug that can be utilized during an opioid overdose. And it is The utilization is, it's a nasal spray. It looks much like your Afrin or other types of nose sprays would work. Obviously doesn't require anybody to be conscious to use it, but our nurses wanted to get this policy in front of the board as soon as possible, because we will turn around and take those doses of Narcan and actually put them in with our AEDs. The reason being is that if you do have a student or staff member go down, become unconscious, you grab an AED, especially if it's an adult thinking it may be a heart issue. Well, quite frankly, we know from the numbers that there's just as much a percentage, or there is a percentage chance that given the number of students and faculty we have, could also be fentanyl related. So the great part about Narcan is it is not, let's say that we utilize it on Mr. Henry goes down, we don't know what's going on with him. We would still use the Narcan if we were unable to determine the cause, and it will have no side effects. It will not be harmful in any way if we're to use that and then move on to the next thing. Now, obviously, if the person doesn't have a pulse, AED comes. We're so fortunate here with the fire district being literally minutes away. There are other schools, even schools in the big cities, that their response time is sometimes 10 minutes for an ambulance. So I'm very confident that we, regardless of whatever emergency procedures we put in place, that we're going to have backup very quickly. But as you know, if you watch the news, read the papers, it's an epidemic, and quite frankly, there are kids dying from accidental overdoses that were not intentional whatsoever. And you see stories about people who come into contact with fentanyl, not knowing that it is what it is, or that it is, or reaching in a pocket and finding it, and it right through the skin, and away it goes. So again, this is just something that we want to get in place as soon as possible. Given that we're kind of in the process of this, and we'll have it on our website as well, it's under consideration. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in for usage as soon as nurses get some of our staff members trained. So once we know the policy's in process and we have a couple trained people, we're good to go.
All right.
And that's all I have.
All right, board comments. I was able to quickly visit the elementary and middle school this morning, so appreciate the time from Lisa and Aaron and Chuck and everyone there. But also last week, Pete and I attended the WASA legislative preview.
Yep.
And yeah, so got to hear all about the upcoming legislative session and the focus on K through 12 and what to expect out of the legislature this year. So we'll know more in a few months, I guess. That's all I have. So we will move into executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.110, performance of a public employee for 30 minutes and no business to follow. So thank you all for attending.